Rome didn't dominate the world with swords alone. It dominated with systems. While most see stone ruins, strategists see invisible code, a logic of expansion so precise it has survived millennia. Today, CEOs, startups, and multinationals repeat formulas that Rome created before the word business existed. Do you think you invented scalability? Rome already applied it with roads, aqueducts, and laws. Do you think you standardized a chain of stores? Rome standardized entire cities, from North Africa to Britain. And while you're trying to lead a remote team, they commanded armies and governors across 3 continents, without email, without Zoom, but with a system that worked. Rome wasn't born great. It was just a city surrounded by rival tribes, with poor lands and constant threats. But it did what few leaders do. It didn't despair. It planned. And where most saw limits, Rome saw routes. First, Carthage, a maritime empire, rich and strategic, which nearly destroyed Rome in the Punic Wars. But Rome learned. It studied the enemy. It copied what worked. It overcame. Then, it created something no civilization had ever done on a large scale. Roads to connect, not just conquer. Over 80,000 kilometers. Linking soldiers, supplies, and ideas. It was logistics as an expansion of power. Today, Amazon does something similar. Integrated distribution centers, with routes thought out to the centimeter. The difference is that Rome did this 2,000 years ago, with stones and rudimentary maps. But Rome didn't just use force. It knew how to sell value before applying power. Diplomacy was their first weapon. They offered citizenship, protection, and prosperity. Many formed allies even before falling in battle. They understood the game of influence. CEOs today call this a value proposition. Rome already applied it. And when it conquered, Rome left a gift: aqueducts, forums, arenas, roads, all standardized. Like a franchise of the empire. In the modern world, the problem isn't starting. It's growing without collapsing. Startups take off like rockets. But in their rush to scale, they make the same fatal mistake. They expand without structure. A product that works locally sinks in new markets. What seemed like success turns into chaos. Service collapses. Teams are lost. Customers disappear. Investors put pressure on. And the founder, who once dreamed of conquering the world, now struggles to stay afloat in his own unfinished empire. Rome faced the same dilemma. Each new province meant more soldiers, more governors, more logistics. But it didn't fall into the trap of haste. It created a model. A replicable, adjustable, and predictable system of expansion. It wasn't about invading. It was about staying. And to stay, Rome thought like a global brand. Standardize the essentials. Adapt the rest. Meanwhile, in today's corporate world, many still ignore this logic and fail trying to appear giant before they are stable. Rome didn't conquer everything with swords. Its true advancement came from 3 silent weapons. Invisible tactics that shaped the world, and that still sustain corporate empires today. First, territorial franchising. Rome understood that it couldn't control everything from the center. So it created something brilliant. Semi-autonomous colonies with standardized culture, currency, and architecture, but adapted to the local context. It was like an imperial franchise. Each new region maintained local rights but followed Roman rules. This facilitated loyalty, reduced rebellions, and accelerated integration. McDonald's does the same. In Tokyo or Sao Paulo, you recognize the symbol, the experience, and the basic menu, but there's always a local touch. The secret isn't to copy everything. It's to standardize the essentials and allow for intelligent adaptation. Second, cultural soft power. Rome didn't just impose legions, it imposed symbols. Latin became the language of the elite. Roman law became a model of governance. The aqueduct became synonymous with civilization. The empire didn't just dominate, it persuaded others to imitate it. Today, English is the new Latin. Compliance is the new Roman law. Companies that build symbolic value, like Apple with its design, or Tesla with its narrative of innovation, follow the same logic. You don't just sell a product. You sell a culture. And when your culture becomes desire, The war is over before it begins. Third, strategic alliances. Rome knew it didn't need to fight every battle. It created agreements with tribes, kingdoms, and even former enemies. It offered protection, citizenship, and status in exchange for loyalty and integration. It was a network of political partners even before the term strategic partnership existed. In the corporate world, companies that build ecosystems, like Salesforce with integrators or Microsoft with partners, are, in essence, applying the same model. Strengthen local allies. Create interdependence. Grow together. Rome never grew alone. No modern empire grows. Rome understood something that still eludes many CEOs. True power isn't in what you control, it's in what you influence. When the empire began to grow too large, Rome didn't increase its number of soldiers. It increased its number of ideas. It expanded standards, not just borders. It implemented currencies, measures, contracts, infrastructure, language, laws. Over time, the Roman model became the standard model. You could even hate Rome, but you used its methods. And when the capital fell, the system remained. Roads remained in use. Legal codes became the reference. Latin became the basis of modern languages. This isn't domination. It's deep integration. It's what we now call systemic legacy. Continuing. Every company that wants to last needs to understand this. Growth isn't about planting branches. It's about planting a logic. Brands that influence behavior, language, and thought become invisible, yet present in everything. That's why the logic of Apple, Google, and Meta doesn't depend solely on products. It depends on how they change the way the world operates. Rome already knew, systems transcend borders. Startups fail. Conglomerates are lost. But Rome reminds us, it's not about speed. It's about structure. It's not about the next trend. It's about what you build that endures even when you're gone. Rome has endured for centuries because it followed simple but unbreakable principles. Create systems before seeking scale. Turn culture into a tool for expansion. Build alliances, not just acquisitions. These three silent laws defeat chaos. While CEOs chase exponential growth, Rome teaches us to pursue structured growth. Growth that sustains. Growth that connects. Growth that stands the test of time. Continuing. A CEO who ignores these rules can even lead a rocket. But without structure, it turns into smoke in the sky. A true empire, like a true business, is not one that reaches the top. It is what transforms the path into a legacy. Rome fell. Its emperors died. Its walls crumbled. But the empire is still here. It lives in our architecture, in our calendar, in our contracts, in our way of thinking, and in the business world. Roman logic is in every franchise system, in every standards-based expansion, in every corporate culture that creates behavior before creating a product. The invisible empire doesn't appear in commercials. It appears behind the scenes, in the processes, in the norms, in the flows that everyone follows without realizing it. Modern CEOs believe they've created something new. But, in truth, they've only given a new name to what Rome had already tested. And what is the reflection Rome leaves us with? Whoever masters the system, masters the world. Rome wasn't just an empire. It was a source code. And whoever understands this code never leads by leaps and bounds. Lead with intention, with strategy, with legacy. Duration of the Roman Empire: over 1,000 years. Area of operation: Europe, Africa, Asia. Structure: decentralized matrix with local governors. Rome had its own currency, a standardized legal system, logistics technology, roads, aqueducts. It left a legacy, present in over 60 countries today. 3 mistakes that can sink companies expanding internationally. The first is ignoring local culture. Second, trying to scale before standardizing. Third, focusing on profit before building influence. Next, I'll give you some Roman quotes that CEOs should have tattooed in their offices. I came, I saw, I conquered. Fortune favors the bold. In conclusion, if you want to lead like Rome, start by mastering the invisible.